West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
It's 9 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. I'm going to throw it to Blake. Breaking news on a school shooting in Minneapolis. Blake Olson, news and comment.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good Wednesday morning, 63 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 76 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story
on its tactical vest, which it doesn't necessarily mean a lot. Sometimes the FBI is called in to help and things like this. I will say throughout the morning, we've been following a violent night overnight in Minneapolis. So we know already that Minneapolis police were pretty strapped. They responded to at least another deadly shooting in downtown Minneapolis.
And Minneapolis police are responding to an active shooter situation at a Catholic school. KARE 11 TV station there says there are reports of a large number of victims, including children. It happened at the Annunciation Catholic School in the south side of the city. The Daily Mail reports that 20 people were gunned down, and I saw at least 2 reports of 2 children losing their lives.
Earlier this morning, no indication that any of that is connected to what's going on here, but just gives you an idea of this city's resources and how they've been using those. They also dealt with a shooting involving 7 victims earlier yesterday, another fatal last night around 8 o'clock. So it could be that a lot of this help is being called in just to alleviate.
And the city of Minneapolis posting on X a few minutes ago that the shooter has been contained, but reportedly 20 people gunned down in Minneapolis. School shooting hoaxes at universities across the country are being investigated by the FBI, and they're not going to tolerate it. Active shooter alerts have been sent out to students at schools like the University of Arkansas, Iowa State, Kansas State, and of course at the University of Colorado Boulder a few days ago. Imports from India are being slapped with 50% tariffs as punishment for buying oil from Russia. The U.S. and India have yet to reach a trade agreement, and 47 has been insisting that India stop buying Russian oil while negotiations are underway to end the war in Ukraine. DJT posting last hour that, quote, George Soros and his wonderful radical left son should be charged with RICO because of their support of violent protests and much more. We're not going to allow these lunatics to rip apart America anymore. Soros and his group of psychopaths have caused great damage to our country. That includes his crazy West Coast friends. DJT concluded in the post, be careful, we are watching you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Democrats in Iowa have flipped a state Senate seat in a special election to break the GOP's supermajority in the Senate. Unofficial results show that Caitlin Dry defeated Republican Christopher Prosh. All right, we all know about, I can't even remember her name, Taylor Swift engaged to Travis Kelce yesterday. Governor Polis congratulated the couple on their engagement Tuesday on social media and invited them to get married in Colorado. He also offered to officiate the wedding, and I agree with Scott Jennings on this one.
I think we're on Panda Watch now.
I'm just saying, I think the greatest contribution they could make to Western civilization at this point would be to have a bunch of babies and persuade all these people who mindlessly follow them to also have a bunch of babies.
Mindlessly.
That's what I think.
Why the
We don't have
dig?
enough babies. I just think
She's
if they
written-
had a bunch of babies, it would help, the birth rate.
She's written many.
All right, so let's go back to that top story real quick. There are reportedly multiple victims after the gunman opened fire at the Catholic Church and school in Minneapolis. The gunman is reportedly dead. President Trump says that he has been briefed on the shooting. KARE 11, the television affiliate in Minneapolis, says the victims include children. The shooting happened at the Annunciation Catholic Church in the south side of the city. Parents are being reunited with children, and we will have much more on that sad story going on right now in the Twin Cities, in Minneapolis specifically. All right, 59 in Castle Pines, 61 in Centennial, 63 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue from the IHOP. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Through Saturday, temperatures will still be a bit below average, and the chances of occasional showers and thunderstorms will remain high. Night and morning patchy fog as well. Upper 70s to near 80 today. A good chance of showers and thunderstorms. Upper 50s tonight. A good chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All 3 days, high 70s to near 80. Weather is service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We'll continue to break in with the latest updates on the shooting that's happening in Minnesota. Heartbreaking news coming out there. Our prayers are with folks.
That is
we'll continue
hard
to
because
track that.
part of it for me is it is the opening of school mass is what I'm reading. And I've been in those. I have been sitting in the church during those open school masses. The idea that it's the first celebration as you're opening the school year, and a lot of the parents are in there as well. The reporting that I'm reading is that the gunman showed up outside of the church and shot through the stained glass windows, didn't enter the sanctuary. It appears to have opened fire outside, semi-automatic, and the thing that is hurting me right now is the indiscriminate nature. That he's not even walking into the sanctuary and picking targets.
Right.
He's just shooting through a window and looking for death. Yeah, this is going to be one we're going to have to dive into later, but
we'll
not
continue
today.
to give you the latest news on that. We are broadcasting to you live from the IHOP off of Colorado Boulevard, I-25. They're providing a great venue for us today.
Yes.
The restaurant's been full. Lots of people coming in and out
So much
all
food.
morning long. We're going to be here till 10. Would love to have you swing by and say hi to us. We do have some
What do
food
you
that
got
they've
there?
offered. This
You've
is
got the shredded
steak-
beef tacos.
Shredded beef tacos. That's
There's
right.
jalapenos in there. There are peppers. There's onions. There's cheese. That's so
That
good.
is delicious. And what do you
Oh my
got,
gosh.
Bill?
I have got the chicken biscuit, and I'm going with this. This is the thing. It's like homemade biscuit. You know, that really one, that buttery one that kind of falls apart into pieces in your mouth. But then you've got the chicken fried steak on top of it. But the kicker is you've got hash browns underneath it, and then a little bit of the pickle. So when you go, there we go. When you do the bite, you got that moist softness inside of the biscuit, but then you've got some of the crunch of not only the breading outside of the chicken, but also in come the hash browns, and then a little bit of that twinge of the pickle right over the top, which is a wonderful way to finish this off. This is what feels like a classic meal that Mom used to make, but I hate to say it, better than Mom could have made. That's really what this is. So come on down. It's amazing today. We'll give you a $7.10 breakfast. $7.10 gets you their big breakfast. So it's the eggs your way, along with hash browns. You've got your choice of meat, and, of course, the pancakes. This is International House of Pancakes. And I'm going to keep eating this chicken biscuit.
Right.
It's really good.
Well, we are honored to have joining us after a very demanding week the top Republican in the Colorado House of Representatives, Rose Puglisi, House Minority Leader.
Yes, thank you.
Look, you got the round of applause already going. They're excited to have you here. It's been a heck of a week for you. Thank you so much for taking time to join us.
No, thank you for having me today. I've never seen this before, and this is pretty amazing. So thank you for everyone who's showed up today. I think this is it's just nice to be around regular people who have real lives, and it was interesting hearing from Steve Woodrow as well, a representative that I've have worked with. I think
really believes in government, doesn't he?
We just see the world a little bit different.
No, and I appreciate him coming down here. And this is what makes this show so unique: is you get the right left discussions. You get heated sometimes, but it's never personal. You don't see fisticuffs or anything like that happening. But Rose, let's dive in first as to what happened. We just saw some news reports. The last few hours of the special session got particularly heated.
Yes, and before we start with all of that, I just I'm really heartbroken by what's happening in Minneapolis right now, and especially at a Catholic church. And on the first day of Mass, Bill, my kids were in Catholic school when we were over on the Western Slope, and I've been at those Masses too. And anyway, I'm just incredibly heartbroken. So I just wanted to start with that. Decorum, and when you're at the Capitol, I mean, it's already a hard place, right? But all you have is your character and integrity. And the spectacle that Democrats made on the floor and then attacked my character integrity was just a bridge too far for me. And so I just, I felt very strongly that I needed to defend myself, especially with the truth, right? In my caucus, we talk a lot about truth and light and being able to speak truth to government. And so I feel like that's what yesterday was all about. But it's really unfortunate for the institution. And, I've followed politics for a long time. I was a county commissioner on the West Slope. I testified and was really engaged in legislation as a county commissioner, and I've never seen the legislature at the level we're at now.
Well, let's just briefly describe it. I don't want to spend too much time on it.
Yeah, you don't have to give us the details, but just kind of overarching.
So it had to do with Ryan Armagost, a picture that was taken of a lawmaker sent on a Signal chat. And then the crux of the issue was when you knew about it. I'm reading the accounts trying to understand what the issue was.
Yeah, that picture was posted on social media, which I personally hate social media, and so there were some issues, discrepancies between the majority leader and myself in our accounting of the situation, but. When the incident happened on April 11th, I wasn't at the Capitol. I was excused that day for a court-ordered mediation that I had to go to. And so that was the 11th. On the 14th, Representative Zokai had approached me, asked me if I would help find out who took the picture. It was clear it came from my side of the aisle. I am in the Signal chat, but there's just so much going on. There's no way you can, watch all of that. So I didn't know about it. And then when I had asked around, found out that Rep. Armagost had taken the picture. I had done what we always do in our process, which is to let the majority leader know. And then the part of this story that's so interesting to me is I had asked the speaker for a copy of the video because she referenced it in a letter, and she refused to give it to me and said I had to go through Colorado State Patrol for a copy of it. And I had to do that through a CORA request, which I did. But in doing that, I found out that the majority had pulled it on April 17th through the chief clerk and knew it was Representative Armagost on the 18th and had been holding it. And so questioning whether I had the integrity to do the right thing, which I did, when they knew the whole time and had been holding it. There's just a lot of gaps in the story, but I think the overarching theme, without getting into all of this, is we have got to do better. We have got to be more respectful to each other, but we also need to be honest. And I think for me that was the hardest part, is any challenges on my honesty and integrity when I know I did the right thing, they knew I did the right thing, and then to call it out on the House floor the way that they did was was really a new low in the legislature.
That's Representative Rose Puglisi. She serves as the top Republican in the Colorado House of Representatives, wrapping up a wild special session that took place down there. Now let's get to the crux of the special session.
That would be great.
The drama aside, all that, let's talk about what's actually going to hit the pocketbooks of the people of Colorado. This is from the Denver Post. Okay, no bastion of conservatism. $800 million budget shortfall, and as a result of a week's worth of work, we got $250 million out of it.
Maybe.
So, you're right. And it seems like a lot of that comes from taking away, like what Woodrow even admitted was some of these exemptions on businesses. So small businesses, you guys, you're the problem.
He called them loopholes, which I looked at the idea and I understand that, but if the loopholes allow for this behavior now, why does it require a budget deficit like this to close the loopholes? I just keep looking at the idea of, if you're not worried about the loophole and you're not paying attention to it, then you're okay with it. It's something that some of my kids I had to deal with recently and say, no, if this person that is a supervisor is allowing one of their team members to behave this way, whether or not they have said it's okay, they're approving it. They're approving it because they're allowing it to continue to happen. So as long as these loopholes continue, you're okay with it. That's the thing. They should have. Well, it shouldn't be a loophole. It should be a function of what the legislation is. It's the idea of, we can do this, but here are the exceptions. That's good. I like that, Jeff. The idea, it's not really a loophole. It is what it is.
Go ahead, Rose.
Well, I want to continue with the loophole idea because I have a great deal of respect for Representative Woodrow. Again, we don't see the world the same, but we've...
Seems like a great guy, though.
He actually would sit down and have conversations. Like, where do you see this going? And he did that with his land use, code development, affordable housing. I mean, it was great conversations, right? That made the policy better. I couldn't vote for it, but still made the policy better. And I really do have a great deal of respect.
At least he listened to you. At least he was willing to have the conversation like he did this morning with us.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I have a great deal of respect for him in that respect. But I know that, he had said, you all had talked about raising taxes during this special session. He says, well, we have the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. We can't raise taxes. Not necessarily true. So basically what the Democrats did to circumvent the Taxpayer Bill of Rights is to say, well, we're going to take away, let's say, the vendor fee from small businesses. And the Taxpayer Bill of Rights says any change in tax policy must be taken to a vote of the people. And they said, well, we're taking it away, so it's not a change in tax policy. But the policy was that you were going to, as a small business, get this vendor fee. So taking it away is a change in tax policy.
Right. It's an increase in taxes.
That must go to a vote of the people. And we brought up those arguments on pretty much every bill. Yeah. We said, hey, we believe this is a violation of the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. Now, the hard part is everything that leaves the legislature is deemed to be constitutional, right? And so then it requires court challenges and money and never knowing what the outcome might be. And so I think that's we all see the world a little bit different.
Yeah, and that's got to be difficult to figure out whether or not you could be victorious in court, because the argument is, if it is a change to an exemption of the law, is that necessarily a change in policy, or is it a change in how the existing policy is enforced? And that is going to be the language inside of the argument on both sides. That is going to be a tough one.
I think it's pretty simple. No,
it's
a tax increase.
No.
The small businesses had an exemption from this vendor fee that they didn't have to pay as a result of the collection of the fee. Now you've taken that away. Guess what? You're paying more taxes. It's a tax increase.
But is the exemption necessarily a change in policy? Is the exemption not necessarily?
It's so easy.
Because if the issue, and again, I'm just looking at it. I'm just trying to look at it from the 10,000-foot view. I'm not arguing, one side or the other politically. I'm just saying that if the legislation exists, how do you argue that it is a policy change if you're just closing an exemption that already exists in that theoretical policy. That again, it's a fun intellectual
dance all
argument.
around it, but the small business owner of Colorado's got to give more of their money to the government. That is a tax increase.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no, I understand why it'd be hard to go to court because that's going to be that's on both sides their arguments. Yeah.
Welcome to legislature. That's what the last few days have been about.
Oh man, I don't want that job.
So you sit down there, you're dealing with this agenda. By the way, this whole special legislative session didn't need to happen. As Barb Kirkmeyer pointed out weeks ago, governor has all the power to just go in there and go, this cut.
And wait, now they didn't get to this. Who's going to have to try to make all the rest of the cuts?
Right. The Denver Post even says it. This is the crazy thing about it. Erasing the rest of the red ink will fall to Governor Jared Polis, who plans to rebalance this year's budget in the coming days through a mix of cuts to state funding and a big dip into the rainy day fund. Why did the governor call this special session if he could have just done this himself?
Yeah.
Well, clearly this whole special session was political. I mean, obviously, right? We've been mismanaging the budget. We don't have a revenue problem. We have a prioritization problem. If we did, truly put money into transportation, the proper role of government, public safety, education, which we have a constitutional obligation to fund. Like, if we were to prioritize the budget there, I think we have plenty of money to do those things. It's all of the extras, right? And my caucus, during the long bill, the budget, had brought forward, we debated on the floor over 12 hours the budget, which has never been done before. And we had offered close to $1 billion with a B, dollars worth of cuts. And you know what the Democrats accepted? Zero of those cuts. Then we come to a special session. They're like, and the speaker even said this at a public meeting. She said, "Don't let a good crisis go to waste." So instead of taking responsibility for what the Democrats have done, they've been in power for a long time and had decent majorities. Instead of taking responsibility and saying, "Okay, let's take a step back and see what we could cut," they called us in for a special session blaming President Trump and our congressional delegation on the Republican side and HR 1 without saying, hey, wait, maybe we should look at some of these cuts. Maybe Republicans have ideas. And I truly do believe, and I know, there are people, Jeff, right, who don't necessarily see the world, even in our party this way. I truly do believe that when Republicans and Democrats come together, there really is good policy that comes. But this special session was the worst in that they didn't care about Republican ideas. They didn't want Republicans on bills. There were no conversations. And I think we have ideas too, and it's really hard sometimes when those ideas can't be brought forward.
I mean, to that point, I went through and looked at the 11 bills that were passed. How many of them had a Republican co-sponsor? And you can correct me if I'm wrong, it was one out of the 11 had any Republican on the title, and that had to do with cutting funding to wolves to reprioritize it into health care. Now, I did get some message from some Republican lawmakers who said, look, we're not going to support it because that money's going to health care for illegal immigrants, which we disagree with. But, I mean, that's essentially where we are with the Colorado Democrat-led legislature. Are we going to fund wolf introduction or health care for illegal immigrants? And Republicans are like, well, how about none? How about none of those? Can we just put money back to where the citizens are? Which is wild because that's where I feel like Democrats are eventually getting to. Like, this was buried in a Channel 7 article. Okay, everybody here that's listening, I want you to understand this. Mayor Mike Johnston, the mayor of Denver, said that in the 2026 Denver budget, they're going to spend not a dime on illegal immigrants.
Yeah, that article, it was in the 9th paragraph.
Is it?
The 9th paragraph. I remember that story. I counted them. I was like, how long?
Here's a guy that was willing to go to jail to defend illegal immigrants, and now he's like, oh, well, we just are out of money. I guess we just don't spend money on them. And everybody's just like, ho-hum.
Also,
like, we just move on.
Yeah. Also note to that reporter: if Mike Johnston said he's zeroing out that, it needs to be higher up than the 9th paragraph. That should have been in the first 2 paragraphs, if not in the headline. Honestly.
So, Rose Puglisi, you're the top Republican. You sit down there, and this is what they're doing. They're funding health care for illegal immigrants, school for illegal immigrants, wolf reintroduction.
Well,
they're buying lunch. I still
can I change that question a little bit, because I know where you're going with this one. And
Yes.
what I would change is I want to look at the idea of where Jeff is going is with this special session. Now, this is just your opinion, but Jeff and I kind of come to this, and even though we see the world differently, come to the idea that the Democrats showed up for the special session more with an idea that, hey, we get a second bite at the apple rather than trying to figure out why the apple's spoiling. They were looking to spend more money rather than looking to close the budget loophole. And unfortunately, my opinion is that Trump's big, beautiful bill gave them all the cover they needed, because all they needed was to point to one program, one policy, one cut, and say now it's his fault. Because this is a new cut, a new policy. We knew months ago, as you outlined, they knew months ago we had this huge, giant hole in the budget. This provided cover for why they were doing it. But do you agree with Jeff's opinion and my opinion that many of these Democrats showed up not interested in looking to constrain funding, but instead looking to get more funding for some of their pet projects?
No, absolutely. I mean, when we're spending more money than we have, and then we're like, you know how we get out of this hole? We just keep spending more money. We can't do that in our household budgets.
No.
I mean, I'm
Can't
a
do it in
single
business,
mom.
can't do it anywhere.
Yeah, I'm a single mom. I work 3 jobs to make ends meet, right? You can't just continue to spend and think the budget hole is going to close. And so I think that's where the frustration was. And because the call was so narrow, and I'm going to blame the governor and Democrat leadership, at least on the House side, you know, when you come to this call with very specific, I mean, I don't know if you guys looked at that call, but it was very specific. It wasn't, hey, come with your ideas. We have, a $700 million budget hole that we need to fill. How do we do this? It was, we want a bill on very specific things, and we don't care if those things actually cut government or cut spending or find efficiencies. All we want, and Republicans, you can't come to the table with cuts because it's not allowed in the call. But here's what we need you to do. We need you to be able to make sure we fund projects that the federal government isn't funding. And then they talk about, well, these are unfunded mandates from the feds. Well, actually, that's what the state does to local governments all the time. I mean, how many letters do they have to send saying we can't handle any more? So maybe we just take a step back and take a breath, but that's not what this special session was.
Speaking of that call, one of the calls was to address AI. What came out of your discussions on AI down at the state capitol? Because I don't even understand it.
Yeah, so I can barely turn on my cell phone most days. So AI is definitely not an area I engaged in. But what I know is, based on a bill that was passed last year, there needed to be some more time for businesses to find some solutions that actually work. And I think this AI bill, well, again, I don't understand it, and what ultimately passed was a delay to just give everybody a breath and more time.
That's the sense I got, is that they called the special session in part on AI and then just said, well, we'll get to it next year.
We don't know.
Yeah. I agree. It was definitely an interesting special session, but it just kind of goes with the special session was premature. H.R. 1 doesn't even go into effect, most of the tax cuts until 2026, and then 2027. But then you guys had alluded to the Healthy Meals for All program. This is what, I mean, it just like the epitome of government, right? Yeah. So basically,
the voice of God, by the way.
I know. I was like, where is that coming from?
It's John back at the studio. We'll get to a break soon, yes.
So you have the Healthy Meals for All program had budget shortfalls already in the program, right? Now, I didn't vote for it, not because I don't think kids should have healthy meals, but because I don't know that that's really government's role. We already... we already have mechanisms in place to make sure kids don't go hungry and that they do have food at school. And I don't know why we had to change that mechanism. I work 3 jobs, but you know what? I can make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the morning, right? Like I can feed my kids, and the meals aren't actually healthy. I don't personally feed my kids corn dogs, and I don't think corn dogs for lunch are healthy. But that's just me. But regardless, the program didn't have enough funding. And so there was a ballot measure to go to the ballot in November to get additional funding to make the program work, instead of changing the program, which I think also needs to happen, right? But what did they do? They then added SNAP to it. And so you already don't have enough money for the program to sustain it and the underlying program. So let's add a different program on top and ask the people to fund more money when SNAP isn't being cut by the federal government. I want to be very clear. It's not being cut by the federal government. What they said was, hey, states, you're going to have to chip in a little bit more. And so, but not until October of 2027. So why did we need the special session?
And by the way, I just love the way the government frames it too, and Democrats frame it. Like, if you don't support the funding for meals for kids, you want starving kids. All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're doing a live broadcast. The soccer fan.
That's my man.
Oh, boy. Oh, he's got multiple.
Yeah.
And the Cure.
And the Cure. Yeah. That's the Cure. That's our Cure fan.
Yeah,
that's our Cure fan. Now, again, he's repping Leeds United, which is very important.
Nobody cares.
Yes, they do. No. Yes, the entire world cares. And the problem is, the thing is that it's nice that he and I can actually stand in this location together because we are facing off this Saturday morning. And so, yeah. And Leeds is back in the Premier League for the first time in decades because they were mismanaged and they fell all the way to the very bottom and they have climbed back to the top.
Like the Rockies.
It is fantastic. Oh, not even close. They're doing it right. Not even close to what the Rockies are. The Rockies are still an embarrassment. Leeds is a fantastic storied club. This is really cool.
We are here doing a live broadcast at the IHOP at I-25 Colorado Boulevard. Live with us is Rose Puglisi. She is the top Republican, Colorado House of Representatives, wrapping up just a wild session where, guess what? They didn't solve the budget problem and raised your taxes.
No, we're all surprised.
I think we all saw this coming, that the Democrats were not going to solve the problem, just raise your taxes. And that's where we are at the end of all this. All right, so, Rose, you got a few months break here. You guys will be back in January for more punishment. Yesterday we said this, Bill and I both said, God love you, Republicans, for having the responsibility of going down there.
Just showing up.
And the Democrats are able to jam through whatever they want. They're all lockstep, unison, and whatever agenda they want. You watch it destroy the state in real time. You see the poll numbers where people are going, they are frustrated with government and everything's expensive. And we go, well, that's what happens when you elect Democrats. I mean, look at every city out there. San Francisco, Chicago. Look at the states. Illinois, California, Oregon, Washington. Whenever you elect Democrats, things get more expensive, your services get worse, and your taxes go up. So what do? Leader of the House Republicans, try to win some seats? I mean, you got a whole nother legislative session to go through, but put us in your shoes. You watch them destroy the state in real time. You see the voters frustrated. But what do we do? How do you change things?
You know, I've always said, you know, I've led some large grassroots movements throughout the state numerous times, and I believe in the power of the grassroots. I will say I'm hopeful, so I want you to take the hopeful message that, you know, we won 3 seats when nobody thought we could last cycle, won by 3 votes. So if you think your vote doesn't count.
Yeah, one of those was like one house, basically.
That's one household. So 3 votes, and so we need to continue to hold those 3 so we don't go back into the supermajority, and then our goal is 6 and 26 to make sure we gain back a few more seats. Really, it's marching towards restoring balance in Colorado because one-party control is hard enough, but when it's so off balance, and we saw that, you know, kind of drunk on power, arrogance in the legislature, and we continue to see it, we can do better as a state. We truly can. I think that's what people want. Like when I'm at the doors, I travel statewide numerous times throughout the year, and I literally knock doors and I talk to people in all parts of the state. And they've all said the same thing, right? Affordability is the #1 issue. I cannot afford to raise my children in Colorado. And I will say, with all of these attacks on parental rights, there's a lot of people now who are afraid to raise their children in Colorado. And I have 2 children, and, you know, my daughter has some health challenges and educational challenges. And so I, too, am afraid at sometimes that if we don't fight back, if we don't restore balance, if we don't get our state at least to a place where we can have productive conversations, that it will get lost. And so that's why I believe that as long as we can educate the people, I'm so excited about all the people that are in this room today. If we can educate people and then send those people out to talk to their friends and neighbors, the people who don't come to an IHOP at 9 o'clock in the morning on whatever day today is, Wednesday. I think that's how we are going to truly be able to tell the people what is happening. And honestly, they're going to feel it. They're feeling it now, and they're going to feel it even worse as small businesses have to pay more in this time since the special session.
Now, Bill, I'm going to ask you a question because I'm a rock-ribbed Republican. For me, it's R every time. Republican, Republican. All right, you're an independent. You've switched back and forth.
All the time.
Would you... And do you believe, I guess is a bigger question, do you believe that independents, excuse me, would vote Republican just to balance government. Do you think they have the wherewithal to go, you know what, let's put the brakes on the crazy train.
Here's the thing
and
is,
just get some Republicans in somewhere.
If it is just to provide balance, I don't think you can make the argument. If it is a large portion of the argument, I think that you've got it there. And if it is a portion of the argument where it's we need to have balance in order to make the state more affordable, now I think you've got a message that's going to resonate. That, we are going to stop them from some of the silly spending. We're going to stop them. The idea being, okay, you liked the idea. You may have liked the idea of the reintroduction of the wolves. However, if we could have spent that money here, look at what we could have done. You may like the idea of getting the kids free lunch, but not means testing it means we're giving free lunch to the other kids, and are the kids going to take advantage? And did we talk about what the meals should be? That's the balance that should happen inside of the conversation. Now, when I think that both parties get out of sorts and begin to lose voters. Now, in Colorado, unfortunately, this is more the purview of the GOP than it is the Democrats, but the Democrats do this in other locations. And when you get into the idea of, and Representative Woodruff talked about it, the idea of where we are fearful for democracy. I think when you make that type of a large argument for the Democrats, you're going to lose people. You're going to lose independents, and you're going to lose the persuadable voters, just like when I hear the GOP make, I don't know, let's just pick a name by random. Tina Peters. Oh, that just popped in my head. Using that one as the target of this is why the system is broken, I think you lose independence. So if you are focusing on this is why it's more difficult for you and this is how the economy is going to get better and we need the balance, I think you've got a winning message. But when you get into the idea on either side of either, oh my gosh, Donald Trump is taking the country from you, or oh my gosh, the Democrats are taking the country from you and they throw Tina Peters in jail, I think you lose people on that one. I think that is where the entire...
It's ultimately a pocketbook issue.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
it is. Yeah.
I mean, so maybe I'll clarify my question a little bit to both of you. How bad does it have to get for voters of Colorado to go no more with the Democrat Party? I'll raise this because that was part of our lobbying strategy for years down at the state capitol, was just expose the voters to the crazy. Expose the voters to the fact that we're going to have unrestricted abortion at whatever point, whatever age, that it's going to be taxpayer funded, that you're spending millions of dollars on illegal immigrants, all that stuff. And then we did it. And the voters went, yeah, we want more of that. I'm just like, oh, my gosh. Like, what? How bad does it have to get?
But we did win back 3 seats, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in a decade, we had no net losses and a net gains. And so I do think that people are starting to wake up. And for me, and I know we talk about this all the time, the where I got more hopeful was when we defeated Proposition HH 60-40, right? People were saying, no, I want my taxpayer bill of rights refunds. No, Democrats, you can't have any more. And they still feel that way. I mean, the taxpayer bill of rights is probably the number one issue that really brings independents, Democrats, unaffiliates, other than parental rights. That's another issue that
Doug Bruce brought everybody together. Look at that.
I know.
Who would have thought?
Well, Rose, it's been delightful to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I know you had a demanding session.
Yes, you did.
And then you're like, you know what I'm going to do the next morning? Hang out with Jeff and Bill.
At IHOP.
So,
which is fantastic.
Yes. Well, I needed to eat breakfast, so this is
there
perfect.
you go.
Yeah,
well,
this is great.
thank you.
Well, thank
Give
you.
our best to all the
thank you.
Republicans that work so hard down
Thank
there.
you so much.
All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We've had an absolutely fantastic time. Ooh, you even got a gift.
I got presents.
Yeah.
I got
What is that
presents.
thing?
It's a bumblebee, but it's in my Newcastle United Magpies. Yes, and our friend, his daughter, knitted this for me.
That's impressive.
I know. She spent time knitting something
You
for me.
knitted that?
Yeah. Yeah, crochet.
Crochet.
Well,
it's cool to see.
all I know
the
is
kids
it
get
just
back
took
into
it took pokey little needles and she spun it with yarn and stuff, and that's magic to me. You might as well be Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah, because I can't do that kind of thing. This is awesome. This is so cool. This thing is going to be sitting with me with my Newcastle games the entire time. It's going to be my good luck charm.
You're getting fan gear
I know.
at this point.
It's fantastic. This guy is
We
he's going to
have
be with
so
me in all
many
my
great
matches.
friends here. We got the
This is
Cure
awesome.
fan.
This is
We
so
got
cool.
Gabe. Go Broncos. Gabe. Go
Oh,
Broncos.
Gabe.
Woo! Big Broncos fan right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
No.
He's a Raiders fan. It's
I
fantastic.
can see the steam coming
Yeah,
out of his ears.
he's like, I
He's
will.
got the Raiders hat on right now.
I love that.
What is so fun is that we get to communicate with folks regularly via text message.
Yeah.
And, now they're here live, which is great. So, Steve, we got just a minute. Why don't you come up here real quick? We'll wrap with
yeah.
Steve Schreiner, NRA. He's here as well. Herb's here. Marge is here. Pam's here. I
This
mean,
is
just
amazing.
a full house of so many of our friends.
Oh, it's incredible.
Steve, you're out here working the crowd. What are you doing? Why don't you
Yeah.
tell the folks what you're doing? Speak into the microphone there.
Actually, what I'm doing is I'm Steve Schreiner. I'm a NRA Board of Directors member, but every third year I have to run for my own seat. Well, I do it for other people as well. So today I have 4 clipboards with me. Each is different, and yet they're all the same. And this is not a vote. This is a nomination to run, and it goes nationwide. And so I'm out seeking signatures because I need a maximum of 363 valid ones.
There you
So,
go.
besides that, I end up giving out NRA membership blanks, and if you want to find me to sign one of my petitions, you can come to the next Tanner Gun Show out at the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
It's
Steve. Appreciate
June
that
13 and
coming
14.
by.
Excellent.
And that just gives you a flavor of the folks we've seen out here,
Yes.
friends coming by, people active, running for office, running for board membership, current elected officials, fans, friends, everybody.
Yeah. Now, there was something you were talking about with Rose Puglisi before she left, the idea of how bad does it have to get before some Democrat or unaffiliated voters start cressing over to the GOP. And like you, I thought that the message of, are you tired now? It's gotten so bad. Are you willing to switch? Was going to resonate, and it didn't. And that surprised me.
Right.
And I'm starting to think maybe there's something else psychologically at play. And what I go to is the idea of switching banks. One of the most difficult things for anybody to do is to switch a bank because that's your lifeline for your money, for your bill paying, everything else.
Even if you got to deal with all those stupid fees.
Yep, and even if what the other bank is offering you is better, even if everything looks like it's great, that 1 or 2% chance that it would go sideways, that it would absolutely be messed up, that from now on, it could 99 times out of 100, it could be fine transferring your stuff to the new bank. But that one time, if you're that one person where now your money's messed up, where now you have a problem paying the bills, where now nobody has that, so all of a sudden you're behind and you're not getting the direct deposits, that tiny possibility of it going sideways because of you switch psychologically prevents most people from switching banks, even though it's remarkably easy. And I'm wondering if there is a psychological element of that built into some of the persuadable voters, that they are thinking that it looks good, but on the small percentage chance that it could go sideways, and they may actually disagree with some things that might be in the other party is talking about, they say that small chance that they lean into that, it's not worth it to me. So I'm wondering if, rather than the idea of how much worse it can be, more focusing on the idea of how we are going to make it better. I think that might be the actual sales line, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to pull that because I'm thinking there may be a psychological barrier, given that we've been, so blue for so long. There may be a barrier to switching banks or switching.
Well, the
who's in charge.
debate will always continue on the Jeff and Bill Show. We'll be back in studio tomorrow. Thank you to everybody that came out and joined us.
This
It was
is
a lot
amazing.
of fun.
And
you
thank you,
all are
IHOP.
wonderful. Thank you so much to
Thanks,
IHOP and the
IHOP.
whole team. You've
This is
been
amazing.
listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader. This is News Talk 710 KNUS, and I'm going to finish this milkshake.